Gen Con 2019. I'm with Jordan Goddard, half of the married couple and design team, Jordan and Mandy, who just made Gates of Delirium.
Yeah.
What is Gates of Delirium?
Great question. So, are you familiar with kind of the Cthulhu mythos or the Eldritch world?
Who isn't?
Right. Well, you don't have to be to play the game, which is nice. But it is kind of take place in that world. Gates of Delirium is a 2 to 4 player game where we are playing investigators that are trying to understand the weird things that are going on in the world.
Oh, totally normal thing to do.
Totally normal.
Yeah, what sort of normal sane people do.
Sort of, kind of going insane as you're doing it, right?
I knew that was coming.
That is always coming. So the game plays out in kind of you're playing out sane and insane turns. Your cards all have a sane and an insane side.
Like upside down?
Like upside down. So like depending on the round, the first player is going to decide is this a sane or an insane round, and then we turn our cards appropriately to see either the sane or the insane action.
I'm just going to pick insane every time so I can yell, "We're all insane!"
Yes, in the membrane.
Does it ruin the game?
It makes it better.
Okay.
Everyone at least once says insane in the membrane. But no, so you're playing out kind of 2 sets of goals, sane or insane. So on your sane turns, you're trying to gather information about the world. You're sending investigators out to learn things. You're collecting maps and doing some things like that. On your insane turns, you're working against yourself to some degree. You're opening portals that are swallowing people up.
And the portals are my favorite part.
Yeah.
This is the mechanic that you and Mandy originated with Lotus.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
The idea is just like in Lotus, you were building flower petals. Here, you're opening gates with the same kind of progressive mechanic where it ends up being you can see visually at a glance everyone at the table, and it's so easy to tell how close they are to finishing something because set collection is represented by this kind of building gate in a circle.
So you can see who to gang up on.
Exactly. And so the closer the gates get to completing, the more tense it gets. When a gate completes, it swallows up all of the investigators in that area of the map.
Which is horrible.
Or great, because you get points for it. So it's kind of loyalty points. And again, it's a little hard to explain without like seeing it, but you really are playing both sides of the coin. You're insane half the time, you're sane half the time, and you're working against yourself, but also you can't win the game unless you kind of work with both sides of you and complete your goal. So
speaking of both sides,
I heard that you had the idea to put half of the card on the inside side and half on the sane side.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I think this is part of where we were just trying a lot of different things. At one point we had an insane deck and a sane deck, and you were trying to like draft cards from both and have both and decide what to do with each. And so, yeah, eventually it just kind of evolved to it would make more sense to be able to see it all in one hand.
Right.
But it ends up working really nicely because now you have to decide. Now you have to decide, am I going to use the insane half of the card for that kind of action or the sane half of the card for that kind of action? Because you can't use both.
Yes.
So
what do you think? Do you think that adds to a game to be able to make players make difficult decisions?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it wouldn't be any fun. It wouldn't be strategic if you didn't have to have some tough decisions. So
Absolutely.
every single time you're taking an action, you're losing the opportunity to take the other action on that card, which is a cool decision. It's a very interesting kind of push and pull throughout the game.
What's it like designing with your husband?
It's a ton of fun, actually. You know, he's kind of the creative, crazy one. He comes home with different ideas every day, and usually I want to just veto every idea because it's just, I can't wrap my head around things that quickly, but if he didn't come up with these ideas, we would never even start designing a game.
So you're the refiner.
I help create balance. I help him kind of rein it into what are we trying to accomplish. And so I'm usually in charge of writing the rule book and figuring out where there's gaps, and we do a lot of play testing.
Write a rule book.
That's my area. I like the things that are controllable.
Yes,
So.
absolutely. And you also have a big hand in the design of things?
Yeah, so we iterate a lot when we're designing a game. So it starts out kind of all over the place. So we'll play test some things and then we'll change it completely. We'll just start over and try something totally different. And eventually what we usually end up doing is pulling pieces and parts of all those different kind of iterations of the game, and it ends up working in the end. But it takes a lot of play testing and kind of tweaking the little things to make it balance in the end.
Everything that frustrates us at first when we tackle a problem together and we may butt heads, that ends up being the best part of that process. Like, we learn to not only work together with each other and our differences, but then she brings things that I would have never thought of to the table and vice versa. So my advice would be open yourself up to that person's opinions, because those differences of opinion end up being the best part of the game, for sure.
I love it.
Yeah, we like to say that we would never start a project without him, and we would never finish a project without me. Because he has like 16 ideas that are in prototype, versions that are not even close to a game. Like, you can't even play them. They're just Ziploc bags of components.
You still lost me, don't you?
He needs me to help him finish those.
Thank you so much. Make sure you check out the rest of our Gen Con 2019 content from Renegade Game Studios.